Or let's say Sharif's machine used to not go to important stuff, but funny enough, 2 weeks ago it started going to something. That's actually interesting, right? So then I could say, well, I better do Jonathan's first, and I'll do Sharif's, and Ricardo's can wait. That's extremely valuable for customers. It's boring, but it's really, really important. This business context is huge, right? So that's very, very important. So I think I've covered this. I'll move forward. So basically the bottom line message is combining our data with your security systems and identity data allows you to estimate risk and therefore priority. And again, it sounds really simple, but I'm telling you, when you have a conversation with customers, you've got to make a choice. Am I going to just pound out the marketing I'm getting from my vendors and hope I win the deal? Or am I going to get serious about the operational challenges that your customer actually has? You are in the best position to do this. If I show up as the vendor, it's like, yep, he's the vendor. He's going to tell me whatever I want to hear. You guys are putting it all together. And then for dessert, there's one other one. I've only talked about DHCP and I talked about IPAM data. The DNS activity data is extremely important, right? Because DNS, I'm talking internally, is the first step in almost any activity, good and bad. We always think about the bad thing. Oh, I'm going to bad command and control sites. So, okay, I look at DNS and that's got to be bad, right? It can be interesting for good things, too. If I got a bunch of IoT devices on my network, I don't know what... Okay, here's the story, actually. This time I remember the story. Big UK bank. They have something like 240,000 devices on their network. They have an audit requirement to understand what all the devices are and put them in this big database. What a pain in the butt. And to what he said to me, he said, look, here's the story, right? 75,000 of these devices authenticate to Windows. I know what they are. I got no problem. 10 or 20,000 like have obvious malware things that blow out through my IPS or whatever. Got those. I got to deal with those. In the middle, there was a pile, and I forget what the number was, 60, 70, 80,000 devices, where he didn't know. He didn't know what they were. And he goes like, it's all in this gray, and if I don't figure out what they are, guess what? I got to audit them. I got to run them all down, because that's the compliance control. The compliance control says you scan all the devices on the network, you identify them all, and then you mitigate or prioritize issues on any of it you don't understand. So he goes like, help me with the 80,000. Well, if you see this device, and the device says, oh, I'm going to, I don't know, johnsoncontrolsupdate.com or honeywell.update.com or some garbage like that, and that's all it's doing, guess what? It's probably a thermostat or some stupid thing like that. I probably can tell my auditor I didn't bother chasing that one down because it's not doing anything malicious and it's probably a Honeywell device. And the guys who do the AC systems just plugged it into my network. And boom, there's 10,000 devices taken out in the pile. Right? Extremely useful. So think good, don't just think bad. It gives you this client-centric record of activity, which you can think about it as hard because if I want to know everything that Ricardo's machine is doing, and I'm looking at logs, I look at the proxy log, the firewall log, the application log, the Active Directory log, all looking for Ricardo. What a pain in the butt. So I got a SIM to do that, right? But can I get all the data into that? Another pain in the butt, right? This gives you the client-centric record in one place, which is fantastic because incident response is usually around a person or a device of interest, okay? And that gives you a great basis to identify and prioritize threats. Now, it all sounds really good, but of course, and usually we've got Microsoft environment. We're trying to get rid of Microsoft inside customers. Let's be honest about it. Microsoft themselves recommend not turning on DNS query logging. And I know this for a fact because we're doing a deal with a U.S. financial services company, and the customer told us this. They said, we asked Microsoft, and they told us don't turn it on. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Because why? Because they run DNS on their domain controllers, the most important Microsoft assets in the environment. This is very compute intensive to do this logging because it's happening all over the place, right? If I turn this thing on my poor little domain controller, maybe the domain controller is going to go down the drain, right? That's very, very, very bad, right? I don't want that. And as Microsoft, what do I care about this anyway? I'm not a security guy. So they tell you not to turn it on. I'm not